Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans, Jards, Catamudi, Conans, and all of, let's say, you strangers out there. Welcome to today's video where we're back again. Literally moments after the previous video I just put out. So much additional context was released, and we just got the next big era, and it's more in line with what I like about Galaxy. There's a bunch of wild, crazy stuff going on, including two long requested bounty hunters, Forlom and frickin' Zuckuss, and let's just say CG's pulling a Qimir on Window. Oh my gosh, I'm excited about this. I don't know, I don't know how to put it. Again, the pirates have kind of put us in a weird lull, like a hibernation state. This is jolting my soul, although I do think there could be a little bit of dare I say controversy, concern with some of you folks about what the new conquest unit is going to be. But I got some good news. Actually, how about the bad news first here? Before we talk about this brand new era of Deadly Pursuit, which has me hyped, I just released a video a moment ago saying, I don't really know if I need the Profundity, the Beat Executor. I had my whole mind on where the fleet meta is. It's been kind of solidified. Well, and I also said in that video that Profundity was beforehand countering Leviathan. Well, let's just say a lot of that changed and more. Where now my perspective on this new ship for Profundity, that being Rogue One, is going to be a bit different. Here's what they had to say. With the upcoming release, we have made an adjustment to the Leviathan's kit. Dude, the frickin' Leviathan tragedy continued in 2025. This fleet came out 2 years ago. It was a flop. They messed up. They do several buffs, fixes, and then they had the buff it again last year to stop the Qimir. And they're doing it again where they're saying we're fixing this thing, but it looks like they're targeting someone else without explicitly naming it. I hate when they do this. I just want this Leviathan trash to be done with. The unique on the Leviathan now says Galactic Republic, Jedi, and Rebel enemies can't assist or attack again if their attack is targeting a Sith. And I read this explanation. They talk about Profundity, but there's kind of a big thing they added here as well that they didn't really talk about. Again, oh my gosh. Let's just read it. Hey, y'all. We've been keeping a close eye on Leviathan for some time. You can say that. It's been about 2 years and you're still monitoring this fleet, dude. Monitoring its performance and the overall health of the fleet meta. During development of Rogue One, the new ship, we had a clear vision for how the updated Profundity fleet should function. However, once Rogue One was implemented, it began performing in Leviathan matchup beyond what we intended, which I can presume. I'm glad they found that out, even though Profundity was already beating Leviathan up until this point. I have a different conspiracy I'll share in a moment. Since this was already an area of focus, we saw this as the right opportunity to adjust Leviathan, reinforcing its position in the meta without diminishing the strength and identity of the updated Profundity fleet. This approach allows us to keep both fleets powerful and relevant while ensuring Leviathan remains at the top of the fleet ecosystem. And that I've said, I don't think Leviathan's the top dog. I thought it was the Executor, because I get way more holds of it than I do Leviathan, where we currently believe it belongs, which I get. I mean, that's what I assume they want it, but it just wasn't the case, and it's taken 2 years to figure that out. The biggest problem is the real threat to Leviathan isn't really Profundity. Again, I feel like this is a long, roundabout BS explanation where they want to stop Mace Windu from countering the Leviathan. That's what upsets me, because now they're doing for the second time where the Qimir got wrecked on a crazy level, and they never even mentioned that they were doing this because of Qimir, if I recall correctly, right? They're doing the same thing now where they're saying it's the Profundity. I don't think that's the real reason. I think it's the Leviathan, or the, Windu, or else you wouldn't have added this Galactic Republic and Jedi clause in there, right? So come on, just be straight. If you're mad that we built up something that's pretty free to play, accessible, beating your top dog fleet, just say it. Stop with this roundabout explanation here. My other tinfoil hat is that maybe this is partly truly a problem with Rogue One. Well, not a problem. As I said, Rogue One was already countering Leviathan. My guess is they want to make it now, or if you want a chance of countering Leviathan with the Profundity, you need this new ship. Conspiracy, tinfoil hat, I grant you. A little mad about this. This changes my perspective a little bit now. After that whole Rogue One fleet that video I put out a moment ago, this now changes how we go about things. If Leviathan's gonna be a lot more complicated and I can't use Windu, well, now we gotta rethink how this whole fleet meta thing works out. So anyways, want to give you guys a quick update on this because this is a lot of key information I wish I had a moment ago. Oh, speaking of information, I want to bring this up too. So with this era that we're gonna talk about, this Deadly Pursuit era, I'm guessing CG got the memo that people felt burnt out these past few months. I'm speaking for myself, and I just, when you get all these constant, you're getting bombarded, pirate, and people don't probably feel the same enthusiasm for staying on top unless you're kind of panic wailing. You just want to make sure you get all the new stuff. You don't want to fall behind. Okay, there's always gonna be those people, right? They responded with this, so I'll give them some props for at least responding to this, even though they're very roundabout with their Qimir 2.0. Boy, look, Windows gonna get the Chimera treatment, man. They're keeping the meme alive. What was it? I don't know. What was the joke? It's like, I don't know. Grief Karga is performing better than expected, therefore we need to nerf the Chimera. Yeah, puppy. Anyways, Meathead, CG community manager. I don't know why it's in all caps, but someone was asking, hi, so there's no journey in this final era, that being, an epic confrontation, which is usually what we expect lately, or even anything else, legendary, galactic legend. Players have been asking for eras that are lighter, so this is one of our attempts. We will keep an eye on how folks interact with it and the feedback as it goes on. Eras are still very new, we are learning much, and everything is always up for adjustment, so if you've been wanting a break from feeling like you need to buy everything to get a new legendary, a journey, a conquest, epic confrontation, they're listening. I think this is a nice break. We got some really cool interesting stuff as we're going to talk about here. A lot of mixed bag stuff. We don't have to worry about feeling like we got to get all this at a certain relic level to unlock a new legend. That's not to say these things might not be required down the road for something, but in this particular, it's just like, Bad Batch, the Bad Batch V2. They weren't really need anything in their era, but they were needed eventually the next era for the Order 66 raid. So just in this era, there's no legendary that we're chasing after this particular time. So it's cool to see they're taking feedback. And now let's go take a look at this era of Deadly Pursuit. Let me say this first. I was feeling pretty confident we were getting Force Awakens, or at least sequel stuff at the minimum. Far from it, my friends. It's a mixed bag of chaos, and I am all for it. I mean, there's a little bit of thematic stuff going on. It's leaning more towards Empire Strikes Back-ish for the most part. And then I had to do a quick search on the Conquest unit. So let's just go check it out. So the Deadly Pursuit era, which is going to be starting next week with the Rogue One ship. Again, we already made a video on that kit reveal. Super excited to see how that's going to pan out for profundity, especially now that Leviathan's going to become a bigger son of a gun. We have Rogue One. We're also getting a Rebel B-Wing. Yeah, this is another one of those requested ships for a while. I mean, we already have it as I think it's made appearances in, for example, was it the Millennium Falcon event? We've seen it appear here and there, right? So it's cool that we're finally going to get it, and I'm not sure if it's going to be focusing its way into the profundity lineup, or maybe this is a way to make the Akbar fleet better. I'm hoping for the latter. So again, no details right now. We just know it's coming, but we also have this coming around town as well. Check it out. So although we're getting 2 ships, it's cool to see that, right? I thought we were only going to get 1 ship. We're getting 2 ships this year. Okay. All right. This has been long requested, and I saw a comment on here somewhere. Someone kind of mad about Forlom and Zuckuss. Someone was like, literally nobody asked it. I'm gonna push back. Back when Chewie's event was being teased, we're doing puzzles, people were hyped and hoping for Forlom and Zuckuss to show up, and he did it. And it's been a long request thing, even for Dr. Aphra. I am stoked about this, and I don't know. I said this the other day. I have a different affinity for characters like Forlom and Zuckuss versus the pirates, right? Like, don't get me wrong, Hondo's cool and all. I'm looking forward to them. Not so much to Thano, Jod, and Quiggle, of course, I got a deep affinity for, right? That goes without saying. I feel a lot more excitement. This feels more Star Wars-y than Wolf Pirate. I don't know. That's just me personally. And again, I welcome that they tried something different. I don't think it landed as well as they liked. I'm excited for Forlom and Zuckuss. Bounty Hunters is such a ripe faction for some love. And I actually just said this the other day because we were doing a sandbox Grand Arena, retro Grand Arena, and I showed people, reminded people how, tough the bounty hunters were in until they finally got Grief Karga. And then they finally got a hold of Mando. I am stoked for Forlom. I am stoked for Zuckuss. Can't wait to see them in action. But honestly, even though I would be more than happy if they just lift up the current bounty hunter faction, for me personally, this is the money shot. Maybe both. If they could do both, and it's hard for me to get too excited for that because they are very narrow and focused with these new characters and the scope of what they're trying to do. I want Dr. Aphra to become a bit more viable. She's fine. She's really lost her, what made her special, right? It went away pretty darn quickly. I blame mostly Datacrons for her problem, but unlike Starker, which has maintained relevancy to this day, because he always finds a new way, Aphra's a very one-trick pony. Don't get me wrong, the core is fine, but the last 2 slots are really up in the air. It just seems too convenient that 4-LOM and Zuckuss, 2 characters that could potentially fill in those back 2 roles. And didn't we also fill out a survey earlier this year about what characters we wanted to see? And a lot of people were wanting, some dark side tanks potentially for the bounty hunters. This could be it. So I'm excited about it. Me, it's also because it reminds me of Empire Strikes Back. And for me, well, Empire Strikes Back is the quintessential, the best Star Wars movie of all time. I'm not even here to argue that. It's literally factually Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. So I'm a bit biased for this. And who knows, maybe they add more ships down the road for the bounty hunters. You can kind of spin off where you think that's going to go from there. Then things get very interesting. And I want to first say, this is going to be the hot button topic, I think, for a lot of people here. I am very, very happy that we're finally back to conquest units and not being tied to the air. Can we please clap for that? I don't know why we have to. That was like the motto for the longest time. For most situations, right? The conquest was very detached. It was its own universe. And it wasn't just like, you got to farm this as another lifter for this new character, for this new galactic legend. We are getting the Stranger, which has no connection to this Rogue One, Rebel Fleets, random bounty hunters. I'm not going to lie, though. I was like, the Stranger? Who's the Stranger? And then I had to Google it. It's like, oh, Qimir. I forgot his name was the Stranger, also known as Smilo Ren. And I know there's going to be a bit of pushback here. Let me first say this, first and foremost, I don't care if you loved or hated the Acolyte. I think that's what makes the world such a fantastic place. Everyone can love and hate something. And you know what? Flavor is the spice of life. As I like to say, for me personally, I did not like the Acolyte overall. There were aspects that I liked. It was the first Star Wars show I just stopped watching midway through. I know what happened. I saw the key points, I saw the little, clips of the show, whatever. I just didn't like the Acolyte. It was the first show I dropped watching. My friends and family, they all just, they dropped a lot earlier than I did. However, I said this the other day. If they were to add one unit from the Acolyte, Qimir, or also known as the Stranger, would be the one that I would want to see. The whole Cortosis concept was super interesting. And if I was a gameplay designer for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, I would want the opportunity to, I don't know if that's what they're going to do. I would love to play with this Cortosis thing and how it interacts with other, Jedi and lightsabers and stuff like that. So I'm excited from that aspect. I'm going to take it a step farther. I want more Acolyte units. And people are like, wait, you just said you didn't like it. Yeah, that's the reason why. The memes, they were golden. I want the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. And listen, I'm the king of cringe. That was the cringiest moment in Star Wars, and I love it, and I want to see it. And also another hot take, I want the Vespa gang. Not because it was good, because it was so funny, so cringy. Bring it, CG, bring it. All right, enough hot takes for me. I'm fine with this. I think it's cool, and also it's I'm guessing, I'm not sure if it's going to be a Sith, unaligned Force user, or whatever they're going to try to align him as. I think at the end of the day, whether it's Acolyte or not, people get way more excited about space wizards holding laser swords. If you had to boil down Star Wars, that's what it is. It's not about the Athenos. It's not about, Wolf Boy Pirate. This is what it's all about at the end of the day. So I'm excited for it. Curious to see what it's like. I don't need to love the show to love the fact that they're going to be adding this in the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And I embrace any memes that may come if they want to bring in more Acolyte stuff. I know that's going to be a hot topic for you guys. No witches. No, I want the memes. The memes are dreams, my friends. And then we have ourselves Call of the Hunt, which is a new title. It's going to be earned. And a new era battle will be coming. So although we're not getting a journey guide, we are going to be getting something very similar to, for example, I believe we actually have the pirate era battle going on, Crimes Against the Republic, right? So we're still going to be getting something that's very similar to, Raiders of the Outer Rim, like we have right now. And they're calling it Analysis and Paralysis. So although this era, 4-LOM, Zuckuss, all these guys, not necessarily connected to anything now, they could get a Bad Batch treatment where there's something they're required for afterwards. I don't want to make that promise. I like that they gave us a nice spread of stuff to kind of chew on, different eras, different aspects of Star Wars, a conquest unit that is not connected to whatever the core era theme is. I think for the end of 2025, I think there could have been maybe better stuff they can do, for sure. For me, after coming from what felt like a whole year of parts, it wasn't that long. But yeah, I think the 2 Conquest part units just really distorted my perception of how long this era was. I welcome this wholeheartedly. A lot of cool stuff, targeting what I hope to be much needed areas, not just for Profundity, maybe for Akbar, and I'm really hoping at the minimum Bounty Hunters or Dr. Aphra on top of it. So guys, let me know what you're feeling. At the minimum, listen, we have low standards here in Galaxy Heroes. Are you excited about all this stuff that we got going on? Are you like me? You are excited for Forlam and Zuckuss? Or maybe some of you guys think this is just going to be a continuation of the Pirates and you're like, what the hell is this crap? Maybe you're like Rolata 64. Potentially. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys aren't that excited, but I think you got to be more excited about Forlam and Zuckuss more than Pirates, right? They're both very, minor characters in Star Wars, from a TV screen standpoint. But Forlam and Zuckuss, I just feel like are cooler. I don't know how to explain it. It's got more of a Star Wars X factor, and it might be just because it's from Empire Strikes Back. But anyways, that is going to wrap it up today for Arnold Holiday News. The only news you'll ever need because you have no other choice. My friends. Let's wrap up this year on a bang. Glad to just listen to some feedback. A bit concerned about the Windu catching strays, unfortunately, like the Chimera did. Oh my gosh. But I digress. No matter what's going on in Galaxy of Heroes, I thank you for the time you spent with me. And at the end of every single day, it makes you want to say, dang, it really is great to be in the Empire today.
Oh, it's great to be in the Empire.